So I'm trying to think of what to do with my old Hults Bruk Agdor Montreal that had the heel chipped out of it. Whoa! That's not good. I've got a replacement one from Hults Bruk. I'm not just going to throw this one away, however. You can tell by the coloring in that I'm going to take some off the heel and some off the toe and give it a really narrow bit. And that's going to make it something like a Berliner pattern, like Ben Scott has. And I can get a 9-centimeter bit, which is the same as his. And I'm quite interested to try that out. I think I can make some use of it. Here's some examples of Berliner patterns from old German tool catalogs that I found on the Internet Archive. And here's some modern examples of axes that look to me like Berliner patterns, but none of them are actually called that. These are all made in Austria by Stubai, Sonic, and Müller. And it looks like by chance this axe is matching up pretty well with the official color scheme. So there it is. I turned my chipped Hults Bruk Agdor Montreal 3.5 pound axe into a poor man's Berliner pattern. And with all that cutting, I didn't even have to take it off the handle. Kept it on the handle, and I just used angle grinder with a cutting disc and kept it cool, especially when it was near the hardened steel of the close to the edge. But yeah, otherwise it was relatively straightforward. And then, you know, I cut it and then left not right to the line, and then I filed it to the line using a big coarse file and then a finer file to clean it up. So narrow bit. I think it turned out pretty well. It's got a 9-centimeter cutting edge, same as the example that Ben Scott has for his actual real Berliner pattern. Here's the top-down profile. Probably a little thinner than a legitimate real Berliner pattern, but actually looking at this still from Ben Scott's video, you can see that the bit is quite thin. It's not that different from the one that I've put together here. I put 18-degree approximate primary bevel with a little micro bevel, so I think it'll do pretty well for the kind of jobs that a Berliner is good for. Things like clipping knots and chopping through the tangled grain of root buttresses, things like that. So here's my replacement Agdor Montreal next to the one I modified. You can see how much of the bit I took off and what it looks like now. One of the things I want to do is now I can see how much I actually thinned out the handle, that I have a new one to compare. So here's another side-by-side view, and you can see that I took a little bit off the back side and front side of the handle, so it's a little thinner in that dimension, but most of what I took off was in the side-to-side dimension. So here you can see how fat the new handle is compared to the one that I have. So, you know, I left a fair amount at the palm swell, but in the midsection I really thinned it out. So the new handle in the original condition is about 2.7 centimeters, and the new one is 2 centimeters. So I took off, yeah, about 25%. And so this handle in the thinner spots is about 3/4 of an inch wide. So I guess that's how much I thinned the handle. I didn't measure it at the time. I just did it until it felt right, and it had a flex. Basically following the recommendations from Stephen Edholm at Skillcoat. And yeah, I like it a lot, and the handle lasted longer than the blade, so I don't know what that says, but it says something. So there it is, poor man's Berliner pattern. Hopefully I can use it in the way it's meant to be used, felling trees by cutting through the root buttresses and stuff at some point soon, and I can't wait to swing it.